Here's your next example. If we've got the function negative 2x squared minus 2. For opening up or down, recognize that this piece right here, the x squared part, it is negative. So this one would be opening down. Now to find the vertex, again, we're looking for negative b over 2a, and then we'll plug that back into the function to get the y coordinate. So in this case, remember that a is with the x squared, b is with the x, and c is the constant. So in this case, there's no b, or in other words, b is 0. So if we plug in 0 to our function, and we divide it by 2 times a, we're going to get an answer of 0. So the x coordinate is 0. Now we can plug 0 back into our function. We get the answer of negative 2. So our vertex is at 0, negative 2. Now remember, our axis of symmetry is the x coordinate, so when you do negative b over 2a, that's your axis of symmetry. Now to find the x and y intercepts. Remember, the y-intercept is the easiest to find. That's where we plug in 0 for the x's. Well, we just did that and we got an answer of negative 2. So our y-intercept is 0, negative 2. To find the x-intercepts, that's where we plug in 0 for the answer, the function. Right, in this case, we just solve for x. We could add the 2 to the other side. We could divide by the negative 2. And then we try to square root negative 1, and we get imaginary numbers. So in this case, for the x-intercept, there's none. There's not any. It doesn't cross the x-axis. Remember, for domain, anytime we have a parabola, we're going to have the domain being all real numbers, because we can plug in any x value we want and it'll still give us an answer. As long as the x is a real number, we'll get a real answer. So domain is all real. The range, on the other hand, remember we said that this one was pointing down. So the range would be y is less than or equal to the y coordinate from the vertex, which was negative 2. Now to graph. So we said that the vertex was 0, negative 2. The axis of symmetry was 0. The x-intercepts, there was none. The y-intercept was negative 2. And so far all we have is this dot right here. This is the only thing we know. So in this case, we would want to take and plug in at least a couple more values. So I like to plug in, say, 1s or 2s because they're really easy to multiply. So we got negative 2 times 1 squared, and you get minus 2. That gives you an answer of negative 4. So if we plug in a 1, we get an answer of negative 4. Then we can reflect that across our axis of symmetry. Now if I plug in a 2, 2 times 2 squared, so negative 2 times 2 squared minus 2. So 2 squared is 4, times negative 2 is negative 8, minus 2 is negative 10. So at negative 2, we're down here at negative 10. I can reflect that across my axis of symmetry, and then there is my parabola.